All right, Elias, I appreciate you coming on the show today and sharing your J6 experience. Do you just want to kind of start off with what was going through your mind in the weeks or months ahead of J6? What
Sure,
took
we
you
can
there?
do it. Yeah, and thanks for having me on, Nick.
Yeah,
Appreciate
no
you
problem.
and the work that you're doing to just try to get the truth out. That's really what this is. It's been such an assault on truth and such a push of propaganda. So yeah, I'd be happy to go through it. So I'm from Morgantown, West Virginia. That's where I live now, and I worked outside of DC. I worked about 8 miles from the White House for like 20 years, and I was ran different sales organizations, raised a lot of money for the community. We used to go down to Park, which is about 3 blocks east of the White House, and feed the homeless on Sundays. And it's just, it's been like my backyard. All throughout the summer when Antifa and BLM was like burning DC, I would go down and record. I have a YouTube channel that I've had since 2012. Just like my own personal content, different things, but it's amassed at the time just under 10,000 subscribers. So I was down recording for that. Went to the big rally December 12th, and then booked my room for 3 days for the January 6th rally. So I got off work Monday night and just drove down from my office to the JW Marriott, checked in on the night of the 4th, and then on the 5th, went out, walked around. There was a bunch of great events and speakers and just recorded. And, just like any other time, there was nothing really to think about. If there was anything to be concerned about, it would be like Antifa stabbing people or something to this effect. A lot of people forget the insurrection of May 29th, where Antifa firebombed the guard shack on the White House grounds and injured 150 police officers and set fire to St. John's Church. And I think they actually, just before Biden left office, the Department of Justice gave them all a big settlement, a big payout. I don't know why, but so yeah, so it's just down there. On the 5th, I walked all around. There was a bunch of rallies up by the Supreme Court, behind the Capitol, just everywhere, taking it all in. January 6th got up. It was like early 7 in the morning. Went and walked all around. Super cold day, and went over and recorded the rally with Trump. I was there until the speech was over, and had no idea or thought about even going to the Capitol. I'm like, I'm going to the rally at the Ellipse. Like, why would I do that? It's a long walk. So, but that's what he asked everybody to do. I come to find out later that there were multiple licensed rallies to be held at the Capitol. I think one was in Zone 8, which is right behind. If you're walking from like the Ellipse down, it's on the other side of the Capitol, which is the east side. So yeah, so like after he was done talking, I went and stopped by my hotel and used the bathroom. Started walking up Pennsylvania Avenue, and I got maybe like 150 yards away or so. When I first got up there, there was like a temporary green fence that had been installed. That was gone. Never saw anything like that.
Right.
There's plenty of video of people coming in and rolling it away methodically and then leaving. Not, I don't believe they were ever charged. So that would be one where hopefully they can get an investigation with who actually did that.
Right.
Um, so so yeah, I was about 150 yards away, and there was a couple like front end loaders that were there, I guess, erecting the stage for the inauguration. So I stood up on the tire on one of them and stood for at least maybe 20 minutes or so until a mass of people just started going up the steps. And I think there's one video you have where I was standing.
Yeah.
And it actually shows where they shove that one guy off the wall.
Yeah.
So there's that yellow front end loader. There was a green one right behind it. I was just standing on the tire.
Right on.
But I thought it was a good vantage point to record.
Yeah. Looks overly peaceful at this point.
Yeah,
From
like
where you're standing, at least. I mean, I don't know what's going on out of the camera.
Yep. And then it was like, whoa, they shoved that guy off.
Yeah. I don't know if I can.
So that was pretty wild. And for people that aren't aware or haven't put much time into this, in a nutshell, the crowd came up. There was that initial situation with Ray Epps where there was a scuffle at that one small bike gate. But at this point, there was a lot of people, right?
Yeah.
And they were all standing up at the Capitol, and there was a whole line of police. And there was nothing, there was no violence. They were just being peaceful. I mean, I think at this point there was something like 572 Trump rallies, and there had never been anything violent, right? Obviously, like we're the party of like peace and respect and support for the police. The catalyst to which all this fighting and everything started, which I didn't see from my perspective because it was around in the middle in the tunnel, was flashbangs and tear gas that got lobbed a solid, I don't know, 30 or 40 yards back into the crowd.
Right
So
on.
imagine you're standing in between the fence in the front and that 30 or 40 yards, and now all of a sudden there's explosions going off behind you. Anybody would think to like run forward. And I believe, I mean, I'm not a police officer, but it's in their training. You don't like initiate violence on a peaceful crowd.
Right.
But like that's what happened. And that's what set off the whole back and forth and just pissed a bunch of people off. And there's plenty of video of the Capitol Police saying, hey, we're just pissing people off. And when they were shooting the tear gas, the wind was blowing at them. So they launched it 40, and actually in the first tear gas that went off, it only went about 30 feet and then it blew up. And then now you see like 40 cops all coughing and going away,
Right.
which like, but so yeah, so that's where I was for about 20 minutes where we just saw that video. And then all of a sudden everybody that was there like at the steps just started going up. And like, you know, I've learned all these Latin words. I've never been in trouble for anything in my life. And so one of them is like your mens rea, which is basically like your mental state. Like, what are you thinking? And like for me, it was simple. Like, I'm just here to document, I'm here to record. So now, like, I see all these people running up the steps, and I really just felt like a duty and an obligation to just continue like to follow the story and to record.
Right.
And so that's what I did. And I think you've got another video.
Yeah.
Yep. So here is going up the steps. And there's something so important about this. That's again another narrative buster. If you could pause it right here.
Missed it.
Oh, yeah. So if you look there, there's at least a dozen police officers, and they're like hanging out. They're meandering, walking back and forth. Like even like their demeanor, they were just kind of like, "Hey, like what's up?" Like no problem, you know. Never in a million years walking up these steps because you can't say anything on top until you get up there.
Right.
Would anyone think that, hey, this seems to be like a place I shouldn't be, because you've got all the presence of the police and they're like chilling, walking back and forth, hands on their hips, no big deal. Then if you go maybe another 3-4 seconds and then hit pause and run to the left, and if you could stop it there. So there's like a couple doors here and there was 3 lines of people going in, like that's where I went in. But just to the left, you can see there's 6 windows. The middle window on the right is there was 5 SWAT officers that were just standing there.
Jeez.
And they're just like watching. So like anybody going up to this building to this point, you're thinking, oh well, like shouldn't be a problem. You know, you're hearing chants 1,000 times, whose house, ours house. You know, technically it is the people's house. If there was one police officer that said, don't come in here or leave. You know, I was in the building. I walked around for 33 minutes. Right. No one said, don't come in here. No one said leave. None of that. I would have been glad to, you know, not go in the, I'm not some kind of like law breaking, like crazy person.
Yeah.
You know, when I was in there was some lunatic dressed in all like black bloc, like with like the pad. So I feel like he must have been Antifa, screaming like to steal paperwork and stuff. I verbally tried to stop him. But yeah, and if you could keep it play again, and then I'm going to turn back around and I'll zoom in on the crowd. A lot of people don't have a perspective for just how many people were there, but this is will give the viewers an opportunity to see. I mean, it's packed with people, and it's packed all the way down Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think that's really shows there's a lot of people there.
Yeah,
I noticed that when you sent the video to me the other day.
Yeah, everyone I've shown this to has. So, you know, I mean, this is on the back of Antifa and BLM burning the country down, setting up autonomous zones. doing all this crazy stuff. So as an American, would you ever think, and that's where I went in, and there's like literally
Right.
lines of people walking in there,
Yeah.
you know, as if you could back it up, can you back it up maybe 2 seconds from where you are from there? So maybe hit, if you can go forward like a second. Okay. So just to the left, there's some steps that go up on the very far left of the screen.
Yep.
Maybe, I don't know if you
Yep.
can back it up just a hair, but that's where the 5 SWAT were standing, overlooking like 3 lines of people that just like were walking in right there. So you
Yeah.
can see them all in black. And they're not like, hey, stop, you know. My entire experience, I didn't see one fist get thrown. I saw a little bit of shoving at one point on the other side of the doors by the on the east side, but there was like a
Right.
scuffle. And that's why at a certain point I'm like, you know, I'm just gonna like, I don't feel good about this. Like my phone was at 7%. I just went out at this point. The iPhone 11 was the new phone. It did 4K 60, and I'm like, this is great. I'm like, I'm gonna get millions and millions and millions of views from this content. But anything that got posted, it was all removed for violent and extreme content. So there wasn't an opportunity, certainly not one, to be able to highlight, you know, hey, look, if you're just going in as a blind person to an area you're very familiar with, I've been in the Capitol many times in my life. DC
Right.
is like a 10-minute drive from my office for 20 years. And everybody's up walking around the Capitol and the Supreme Court the day before. It never engaged my mind as somebody who's very seasoned in that area that I was doing anything wrong at all.
Right.
Now you come to the top of the steps and there's all these cops like hanging out and meandering. And in my mind, I'm thinking, man, like I have to like go and record. I just felt such an obligation to. I'm like, this is crazy. There's people all over the place. I need to record this, and like, that's what I did. So, yeah, man, I walked around for like a half an hour. Came out on the other side. People were singing like "God Bless America." You know, there's a lot of things that kind of pop up about that. There's a big intercom system. I think they used later on around 6 or 6:30 when they told people to actually leave, that will like blast your eardrums out. That was never used. You know, Trump asked repeatedly for the National Guard. That was not implemented. So, you know, obviously they wanted this to happen. We've now found out 3 or 4 weeks ago there was 28 undercover FBI agents in some capacity there. There's 3 police officers in a very famous video where the one is telling people go, 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 yeah, climb up the thing. So it was obviously a honey pot or honey trap or whatever it is. Couldn't be any more obvious. And then just the sheer level of like vindictiveness and hatred and what could happen to myself and 1,600 other people is just shocking. So if it's okay, we can get into that.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, man. So I have a 72-year-old sister. She's fully disabled. She's got Parkinson's disease. She's like stage 5. It's very bad. When this happened, she was not as bad. She could still kind of move, but she's got a good shake going on. And so, you know, multiple people reported me because I had live streamed this. And prior to having any videos taken down, like, you know, multiple people were like, oh, you know, there he is. So I'm one of 55 people that were totally peaceful that was used this 1512 charge. Anyone who knows, this is the Fisher case. It's obstruction of an official proceeding. It was written after the Enron scandal. And basically, if you read the spirit of the law, it's there for anyone corruptly interfering with like a official proceeding. So if Nick, you're a witness and you're at Congress for a hearing and I come and threaten you, that would be like corruptly interfering. Or if I take paperwork and like change it, this is what this is for. Not for someone that's peacefully protesting.
Right.
Certainly not for someone that's engaging in a First Amendment protected press. Like I literally get paid for my content. Right. And with YouTube, you have to have at least 1,000 subscribers and like 6,000 minutes annually watched. So it took years for me to get to that point. But for multiple years prior to that, I'd been monetized. And, you know, the press is not the media. It's the printing press, the mechanism by which to be able to convey. And, you know, they deny me that right. I have so many civil rights that were violated. So February 12th, I was one of the first people